much for coming along today to the fourth event in the TechX Ideas Club series, and this is the second of our 2 workshops, and it's nice to see some familiar faces there from last time round. That's always reassuring, and smashing to see some new faces as well. That'll bring some new ideas into the mix, which is fantastic. So a very warm welcome to you all. I'm Alison Gray. I run a company called Skillfluence, and we work with researchers, with scientists and tech specialists, providing training in commercialization, entrepreneurship and innovation. So I'm going to be facilitating today, and I'm hoping that you'll gain some inspiration for generating some fresh ideas, meet new people, hopefully embrace the fun, chaotic nature of online interactive workshops, with lots of people that are involved. So we're going to continue the theme of stepping out of your comfort zone, but just like last time, I'm going to be really gentle with it, a bit like boiling a frog. You'll be in hot water before you even notice. It'll just feel like an enjoyable hot bath, you know? So a few things to mention. The session is being recorded, and that will be shared in the Ideas Club community. And this is going to be interactive and participative. We'll have breakout groups, hopefully plenty of chat in the chat box. So please do ask any questions or make comment in the chat box as we go along, and I'll be asking you to fill in there. Hi, Laura, by the way, I didn't get a chance to say hello. You just joined us, so welcome.
Hi.
Hi
there.
Nice to see you. So most of the time, you can be on mute, but you're all very well house trained. I can see you've done that just to make sure there's no weird feedback. But do come off mute when you're in the breakout rooms and when you're chatting. Keep your cameras on throughout if possible, especially in breakout groups. You know how much easier it makes it feel. Totally understand that's not always possible at the moment. So if it's not, that's absolutely fine. So, right, let's get started. I've introduced myself. Now it's your turn. In a moment, I'm going to send you off into breakout rooms in pairs just for some introductions. And what I'd like you to do is introduce yourself and just share something nice, right? Something nice that's happened in the last 24 hours for you. It doesn't have to be a big thing, and just something good that's happened or that you've enjoyed. And just to get you started, I'm going to share mine, which is I got this weird, I was going to bring it along, but I thought it would attract my cats. I got this weird feathered fish thing. It's a toy for my cats, and they've gone absolutely wild for it. It's in pieces already. So that was really lovely. That was just nice fun last night playing with the cats. So what's your nice thing? And we'll just send you off into pairs, and we'll hear back from you in 3 minutes. So quick chat. Just while we're waiting for everyone to come back in, do jot in the chat box what your nice thing was that's happened in the last 24 hours or so. Right. Just, yes, so welcome back, everyone. Just, well, I think everyone's back in now. Just jot in the chat box your nice thing that's happened in the last 24 hours for you. Oh, good for you. A new jacket. Yeah, nice. Nice. Was that like from a real shop?
It wasn't. So I was telling Barzan that I had ordered it from a large, well-known retailer and picked it up at Waitrose yesterday. So it's, it was a nice little treat to myself. And of course, the kids were asking, "What have you got me, Mum?" Nothing. It's all for me. Yes.
Quite right. It's all about you. I think that's quite right.
Yeah.
Great. That's nice. Oh, and that's nice, Douglas. Some nice feedback from your new big boss. Big boss. So that sounds even better. Fantastic. Big nods there. Yeah. 2 gym classes in one day. Love it. Yeah. Great. Anyone else got anything to share that they've had nice happen in the last 24 hours? Oh, potential job opportunity. Great. I like keeping it small. I think if you kind of say, what's nice happened to you in the last year? It's just so hard. But when you've got to distill it down to the last 24 hours, started a new job. Brilliant, Miriam. Nice. Right. We've got some great things going on there. Okay. So let's just get started. We've got a couple more folk joined us. So welcome everyone that's here. I'm just going to share my screen because last time, if you recall, we had spinning cats. So this time we've got ducks, and I show you this today because we're going to be manipulating ducks today. And manipulation is really actually a very close sidekick of creativity. It's a great idea when you want to come up with something that's new, to take an existing item and manipulate it. Everything new is really simply an addition or a modification to something that's already existed. And sometimes it's just as simple as kind of going like this, and seeing what we thought was a duck is in fact a rabbit. Well, also a rabbit. So if you twist your head slightly, so can you all see the duck and the rabbit? We're all, I can see you all trying at least. So there we go. We have our brains are really brilliant at being able to shift perspective, recognize patterns, make sense of things. And so if you're looking to innovate and come up with new ideas, a really great way of doing this is to build on what exists currently and generate ideas based on seeing things from new perspectives. And today we're going to look at a tool that gives us a great framework to do that and see things from a different angle. Let me just stop the ducky rabbit type thing there. So we spoke last time about the best way to have a good idea is to have lots of ideas, and the tool we're going to look at and try out today really helps with that. So today I'd like to introduce you to Scamper. I don't know if that's a recognizable tool to anyone. If you've heard of it, put a 1 in the chat box. If you've never heard of it, a 2, just to give me a sense of whether you've come across it. Never heard of it. Oh, this is great news. Fantastic. Oh, good. Okay, so this is going to be my favorite tool for generating and evolving ideas. So if you're currently looking for novel ideas and innovations for commercialization, then it's a great tool. But equally, if you've got an idea already, then using Scamper will allow you to develop your idea, let you evolve it, check for new and better solutions. And it's a commonly used tool by product designers and product developers. And the great thing is I'm giving you 7 things for the price of 1 here, because Scamper is actually an acronym for 7 thinking techniques that help those who use it come up with untypical solutions to problems. And I think it would be more kind of accurate to call Scamper a mnemonic for the collection of techniques rather than a technique in its own right. So the elements that make up Scamper are substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to other use, eliminate, and reverse or rearrange. And we'll go through each of those individually, so you don't need to remember them. They'll all come back to you. You could see some of you starting to jot notes, which is lovely to see. There's nothing nicer than like, she's telling me something, I must write this down. So you can use Scamper alone, you can use it in groups to produce surprising and sometimes really useful results. It lets you generate ideas by looking at a problem or opportunity from a range of perspectives, and it can help come up with new ideas for potential solutions, strengthen current work, and it just challenges it from different approaches. So just to give you an idea of how to use it, it's really easy to use. First, you take something existing. So it might be a process, a physical object, a product, a method, a service, something that you want to improve or that you're currently having problems with, or something that you think might be a good starting point for future development. Maybe you've seen someone else do something else really well and you think you could do it better. Then ask questions about the product you identified using the Scamper mnemonic, and you just brainstorm as many questions and answers as you can. So keep in mind the principle of force fitting. So if you can't think of something in response to the prompt that you're using, just force a response, and we'll look at what that looks like as we go through. So don't worry about how ridiculous your ideas sound. I like big thinking, because then you can start to bring it, take the kind of kernels of those ideas. So don't worry about non-logical stuff, just whatever comes to mind. And then finally, once you've done that, you look at the answers you came up with. Do any of them stand out as viable solutions? Could you use them to create a new product, develop an existing ones, and then you can explore further. So it'll make more sense once we give it a go. So let's have a look now at the first, which is, there we go. So let's look at each element of Scamper to give you some examples, some questions you can ask when you're considering this approach. And let's start with S for substitute. Now, this is about removing some part of the accepted situation or the thing or the concept and replacing it with something else. So for example, Boeing substitute metal for a lightweight composite material to make aircraft lighter. So if you were making spectacles, you could substitute plastic lenses for glass, and that would be a kind of incremental innovation. Or you could substitute contact lenses for spectacles, and that's a more radical innovation. So it's about substituting one thing for another. And when you're using this technique, the kind of questions you want to ask when you're thinking about substitution is, what materials or resources could you substitute or swap to improve the product? What other product or process could you use? What rules could you substitute? What else could be substituted? What could you substitute to achieve the same purpose? I'll just stop screen sharing here. So let's try a very quick exercise with this in the chat box and try brainstorming substitutes for a plastic bag. What could we substitute for a plastic carrier bag that we use to carry grocery shopping? What could you substitute in place? Yep, perfect. Paper bag, nice start there. Cardboard box, absolutely. Canvas, plant-based, yep. Handbag, fabric bag. This is brilliant. So reusable basket, I love it. Now we're starting to diverge and going a wee bit wider now. So we've thought about the different materials we can use, but now we're thinking about alternatives. Yeah, pockets. Laura, that's a great one. Absolutely. Your hands, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. These are all great examples of it. What else? Think even bigger. So we've got all the different types of bags. We've got box. We've got different types of, we could have a person, pockets, basket, car. Absolutely. What about, how could we get rid of bags entirely? What would be another way of getting groceries to people's homes? Home delivery, absolutely, yeah. Drone, perfect. So you see, and like you can see, like a drone, that would be like radical innovation. Whereas like a Hessian shopping bag, that would be an incremental innovation. Both have, you know, absolutely have got a place. And it just depends what you're trying to create. Online shopping, robots, oh, I'd love that. That would be, how cool would that be? Especially if they were kind of quite cool looking. Okay, so you've got some smashing ideas there. Mark, I love it. Synthesize food in your own home. This is great. Fabulous. So, and that is exactly it. And just, you know, there we are. What that's taken us, what, 90 seconds to come up with at least a dozen ideas. And you can just imagine if you were working on something that you had more knowledge about and you were looking at, you know, how you might substitute 3D printing. Yes. And that's nice because what I also see there is people are building on others' ideas as well. You see that we start with kind of like, oh, different types of bags, and then it kind of grows. And I kind of push you and I say, no, come up with more, come up with something bigger, and you do. So that's the way innovation works really well. Okay, so you've got a substitute. Let's look at combine, which is the next technique really. And combine is all about joining, affiliating, or forcing together two or more elements of your subject matter and considering ways that such a combination might move you towards a solution. So Trevor Bayliss here, you know, combines mechanical power with a radio to make the clockwork radio. And you can see in the photo, it's also been combined with a torch. So someone's added more to that. You just need to look at your mobile phone to see the power of combining distinct functions and products. So you've got in your phone a computer, a phone, a torch, a compass, a map, a camera, a calculator, a music player, and so on. So you can see that this is a powerful tool in product development. I often show products because it's kind of easier and more visual, but this works for processes and for services as well. And then, I mean, my favorite, just think of the absolute genius who thought to take a Mars bar and ice cream and combine the two things. So, you know, these all work well, ways of combining things, you know. As I say, you can do it with services as well. You just need to think of things like a one-stop shop. then chances are, they've combined a range of services to provide you with a single contact point for multiple services. So for example, a car sales showroom combined with a garage and MOT services, or combined processes leading to end-to-end manufacturing. So the kind of things that you want to ask about this when you're looking at using this technique is, what would happen if I combined this product with another to create something new, put two things together? What if I combined purposes or objectives? What could I combine to maximize the use of this product? How could I combine talent and resources to create a new approach? What materials could be combined? So these are all the kind of things that you can think about combining. So I've got a wee exercise for you for this. So in the chat box, what I would like you to do is note your area of expertise or interest. So particularly if you're looking to innovate or commercialize, what space would it be in? If you were developing a product or a service or a process, what space would it be in? And try and be as specific as possible. I know it's quite hard, but what's your area of interest or expertise? So rather than saying, engineering, be very specific about the type of engineering. Or if you've got an area of interest and it's maybe biorenewables, try and dig a bit deeper into that and give that specific type, like valorizing waste from whiskey distilleries or some such thing. So I know it's a difficult one, but it's just to give us a bit of a starting point. We're not going to hold you to it, but it gives us a bit of a sense. And you'll be able to use this in the little exercise that we're just about to do. Brilliant. These are all fab. Specialise in quantitative geophysics and subsurface imaging. That's really nice and specific. Yeah, thank you. Sustainable low carbon energy, driving net zero solutions, energy transition, cheaper lithium ion batteries, energy usage reduction for buildings. Lots of great ideas here. Okay, this is just to give us some food for thought. Sustainable using blockchain technology. Fantastic. Okay. So what we're going to do now is send you into a breakout room for about 10 minutes, and you have got 10 in pairs, not on your own. Just, so you're going in pairs, you've got 10 minutes to come up with a new idea for a commercial venture created by combining an element of both your areas of interest or expertise. Okay, so just find a way to come up with something. I promise we will not make you go and set up a business on this, but it's just to show you, how it can be done, just to collaborate and combine with someone and force fit your ideas. Yes, let's hear from everyone else. Maybe type in the chat box and I'll hear from other folk. What did you come up with? I love it, yeah. Patented technology now. Just interested to hear. You're like, how do I describe this in just a few words?
Hi, Daniel, I'll get you to type into the box there for us. Well, since we're a team already.
I like your style, Colin. I like the delegating happening already. I love it. Team play.
We actually know each other, and we've been brainstorming on a number of different projects. So it was quite ironic that we were paired together. So
yeah. Oh dear. What have we got here? So Mark, cheaper lithium-ion batteries made with zero emissions manufacturing supply chain. Nice. That would be great in real life, wouldn't it? That would be fab. Yeah. Okay. Well, whilst you're typing in. Yeah, zero emission recycling. Use of private blockchain tech to manage seismic data transfer between subsurface joint venture partnerships. That sounds amazing. I think I would need to reread it to really understand, but it sounds amazing. It sounds super cool. I think, what I love about this little exercise, I do this a lot with people doing very diverse things, and it's amazing how you can come up with something, no matter how opposite they sound, and in a short space of time. So just, that focus and that, actually using the kind of energy to do it and sort of focusing on it together. It's amazing what you can come up with. Harness the power of renewables and come up with more sustainable H2 generation in its ecosystem. Yeah, brilliant. But some fantastic things there, and just in 10 minutes. So well done. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. All right, an electric chair, which is just extra power could be used in homes. I love it. Car, yes. I was kind of like, an electric chair. Not usually in everyone's home. Yeah, that makes much more sense. Thank you. All right, that's brilliant. I love all the things that you've come up with. You've done well there. Let us just have a quick look at the next one, which is adapt. So this is really about changing some part of the problem so it works where it didn't work before. So think about something like Harry Potter, the book, which is now on stage, on screen, in theme parks. There's figurines, there's roller coasters. You know, they've taken something and they've adapted it for elsewhere. The picture here is because the domestic microwave oven was originally developed from military communications technology. So it's thinking about how could you adapt or readjust a product to serve another purpose or use? What else is the product like? Who or what could you emulate to adapt the product? What else is like your product? What other context could you put it into? What other products or ideas could you use for inspiration? You know, could it be adapted for other markets? And that's quite often, if you've got a product, could I adapt this to be used elsewhere in a new market? Anyone got any suggestions of where a technology has been adapted? Any examples? Or something has been adapted or used for another use? Adapted for a new place. I want to just stop sharing this for a moment just in case. I mean, one of the things that I always think of with this is how we use nature, biomimicry, how geckos attach themselves to surfaces, or the aerodynamics of birds. So you're adapting things that work in other settings. Okay, let's super glue. Yes, exactly. Oh. Nice. Dyson Hoovers to hairdryers. Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Post-its now used as a glue. Okay. Yeah. Fab.
Sorry, Alison. So I've got problems with getting the typing end here. What you're looking at the screen here is the International Space Station, and we've adapted the maintenance system for that to oil and gas and platforms. So
wow,
something completely different.
And how perfect that there you are sitting with that as your backdrop. It's been adapted for a different use. It's amazing.
It is actually, it's my day job and it's a real project. So this is not my backdrop, this is what I'm working on.
You're actually there.
No. Yes, that would be great. now we're really taking things to extremes. No, but it is a project, and so it just shows you something completely left field.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. It's smashing to have like real world examples, and yet nice one there from Nadia as well. Remote control from aviation into oil and gas. So loads of examples, so you can see it. It does happen in practice. Let me just share the screen again, because I'm going to take us straight into the next one, which is modify or magnify or minify. So, think about the attributes of the thing that you're working on and change them arbitrarily if necessary. So the attributes might include things like the size, the shape, other dimensions, texture, color, attitude, position, history, and so on. So I think of like Robinson's fruit juice made a tiny condensed version that you could carry in your bag called Squashed. So it was a real condensed version. The reason I've got this picture here is instead of daily pill taking, slow release drugs are formulated to be taken at less frequent intervals. So time has been stretched. So how could you change the shape or the look or the feel of your product? What could you add to modify it? What function could be added? How could you emphasize or highlight to create more value? Is there a new twist Could you change the meaning or the size? What element could you strengthen or exaggerate to create something new? So has anyone got any suggestions of, you know, where a technology or something, a product has been modified or magnified or minified? I'll just tell you another couple while I'm waiting for you if you think of any, but you know, the Kelpies statue in Falkirk, you know, the huge big horse heads, they made a little version of those so they could transport it around Scotland and show it off in different places, and so they've minified it. Or yeah, mobile phones is a good example, lots of modifications there. Insulin pen, there's now a really discrete form of a syringe that looks like an expensive kind of classy pen. So again, that's been modified. Desktop to laptop, yes, brilliant, good example. Lots of nice, there's lots of nice examples around modify. I'm not sure what RFID is. Theo, what is that?
It's a radio frequency identification. The original application was never for tag reading for stuff in the shops. It used to be much more advanced one. It was scaled down to be able to adapt to that.
Ah, brilliant. That's a really nice example then, and it's not a product, is it? So that's nice. Yeah, we've got our massive TV box versus flat screen music systems. Yes, much more portable. CD drives to USB. Oh, look, hundreds of brilliant examples there. Okay, nice. I'm going to take us on to the next one. The next one, we've got a wee bit more of an exercise around. But let me tell you a little bit more about it first. So the next one is called around purpose, or I like to think of it as put to another use. So modify the intention of the subject. Think about why it exists, what it's used for now, what it's supposed to do, and then challenge all of those assumptions and suggest new and unusual purposes. So for example, fiber optics were first used for internal medical examination and later used for long distance communication. And if anyone ever reads BuzzFeed, all the life hacks you get there, product hacks, you know, different things that you can repurpose and use in different ways. And it's a real hot topic now, because in the past we saw waste, and now we recognize that that could have great value. And the circular economy is all very much about putting waste to a different use. And I think kind of a nice illustration of this is the middle figure here can be seen as a 13 if you read up to down, and if you read across the way, it can be seen as a B. So it really just depends how you want to use it, you know, and it's really all about the context it's in. So the questions you kind of want to ask yourself around this is, can you use this product somewhere else, perhaps in another industry? Who else could use this product? How else could it be used? How would it behave in a different setting? And could you recycle the waste from this product to make something new? So I want to give you a chance to quickly try this out. I'm going to give you maybe 6 minutes for this. We'll do it in groups of 3 or 4, and I'm going to give you an item, and I want you to come up with as many potential other purposes for this item as you can, and think about, as you're in your group, which one you reckon is the most commercially viable. And when you come back, I'll ask you to add that into the chat box. So you've got 6 minutes to come up with a number of ideas about an item that you could use for another purpose. And the thing that I want you to put to another use is topical for you. So a standard oil barrel. How could you use that elsewhere? So we'll send you off into your groups now. Use it for a whole host of things in your garden. Nice. Including your barbecue. Yeah. Fab. So we've got some nice ideas there. That's great. A cheap phone, a really long piece of string. Trendy furniture and storage, love it. Yeah. Yeah, that would be super cool, the industrial look. Very good. Okay, you've done well there. I've been bearing in mind you had like 4 or 5 minutes, it's not long. Oh, a cheap boat, artificial reef incinerator. Fantastic. We've got some great ideas. Of course, musical instrument. Fantastic. Okay, you have done well. Right, I realise I've still got 2 more to go through and 5 minutes left. So let me move on at pace here. Chatting too much with you. So eliminate. And that is really about arbitrarily removing any or all elements of your subject. So simplify, reduce to its core functionality. You see here, Apple removed the wires from their headphones. You know, how could you eliminate haulage costs by sourcing local production materials? Amazon have created shops where they've eliminated the checkout. You just pick up your messages and walk out the door. There's another story I love, which is that apparently the original donuts didn't have a hole. And according to one legend, a wee boy was watching his mum fry donuts and noticed that the centers weren't thoroughly cooked. So he just poked a hole out with a fork, and there the classic design was born. So, you know, what less is more. So how could you streamline or simplify the product? What features, what parts or rules could you eliminate? What could you understate or just kind of tone down? How could you make it smaller, faster, lighter, more fun? And what would happen if you just took away part of the product? What would you have in its place? How could it be divided or split up? So those are all the kind of things to be thinking about. And then the very final one is rearrange or reverse. So change the direction or orientation, turn it upside down, inside out, make it go backwards against the direction it was intended to go or to be used. So for example, in supermarkets, you can now do the checkout process by scanning as you go around the shop instead of all, you know, doing it all at the end. When you're brewing beer, adding flavors before or after fermentation will change the taste profile. So think about the order of things. So just want to show you, what is this? What is this? What do you see? Any ideas? What do you see? It's a zip, yeah. What else? What else do you see? So at first, an ancient language, I love it, yeah, could be. So at first the shapes and figures look really strange in this and a bit meaningless, to be honest, because we're conditioned to look at black shapes and figures. So what we ignore is the white shapes in between. So what happens if you ignore the back? Yep, hey. And now it's almost impossible not to see it when you look at it. But that's exactly it, you know. So what happens if you just look at things and reverse them? And there you can see it's gone from one thing to another. So what would happen if you reversed the process or sequences, did things differently? What if you tried to do the exact opposite of what you're doing now? What components could you substitute to change the order of the product? What roles could you reverse? How could you reorganize the product? How could the pattern or the pace be changed? What would be unexpected? And that's what you're kind of trying to think about with the reverse or rearrange. So a very final point at the end of the session, I show this up here. I want to talk about the 3 Bs, and that is bed, bath, and bus. So if you're wanting to think about things, we think really well when we're kind of unfocused or unconcentrated or even slightly semi-conscious. You'll all have a favourite place to think, I'm sure. So jot in the chat box where you think best. Is it on a walk? Is it in the shower? And really this works well because incubation works because your subconscious mind is continually processing information. And it quite often involves setting aside the idea or the problem for a while and moving on to something else. Anyone that does crosswords knows that can work. So just remember to give yourself time out to be able to think and incubate your ideas. So let me just finish up now. I'm going to hand over to Charlene in just a moment. But remember, as Guy Kawasaki says, ideas are easy, implementation is hard. So it's important that once you've generated your ideas, that you take the next step in the commercialization journey, which is to validate your ideas for commercial viability. So I've had great fun doing this with you over the last couple of sessions. That's us for now. If anyone has any questions, please do use the LinkedIn community, or you can email TechX. I'm sure that will be added into the email or chat. Thanks for being so fantastic today, being very engaged. Lovely seeing you all. I'm going to hand over now to Charlene.
Thank you, Alison, for all your insights. I think everyone in this event would agree it's been fantastic. To put into practice all the learnings from the past 2 workshops, we have another set of workshops lined up for you, where you have the chance to generate technology ideas based on real-life energy industry opportunities. Skillfluence will bring their expert training to the table alongside the OGTC Expert Solution Centre team, who will bring insights into the technology gaps we face as we urgently address our net zero. We'll be showcasing real gaps in the market. But to give you time to absorb all the information from the past couple of months, we will host these workshops in July. We will upload pre-reading materials onto our website when registration opens. Look out for registration opening very soon. There will be an announcement in the LinkedIn community. Until then, we invite you to join us at our upcoming Ideas event on the 24th of June at 1 o'clock. Registration will appear in the chat now. In conversation with Judith Thorpe, founding director of Thorpe Malloy McCulloch, alongside 3 successful female entrepreneurs, Kate Scott, Jane Mackey, and Sarah Nazir. Have you ever wondered what the ideation process looks like for a successful business? Join us to hear about these passionate female founders spark their ideas, what their entrepreneurial journey looked like, and where their businesses are now. I hope to see you there. Have a fantastic rest of the day.